Hey YouTube, what's up? It's Dark God back again after what seems like a long hiatus of about 4.5 months. Basically, last time you guys saw me, I was doing my October horror movie reviews, and I bombed out on that. Again, 2 years in a row that I didn't do too well with that. Actually, I lost my phone halfway through October, which I film all my videos on my phone, so that was a big problem. So anyway, I'm back doing reviews, like I said, after 4 months, and we're a week away from the Oscars, which can only mean I am doing all my award nominee predictions. And starting today, and I'll do a video a day for the next 6 days, and then a review video on Sunday, the day of the awards. So you'll get a video of the main six, the big six awards: the two best supporting actor, actress, best actor, actress, director, and of course film. And then on the review one on Sunday, I'll probably throw in a couple of other just award predictions where I think some awards might go and everything. And for me, I'm a big fan of the Oscars, always have been. I know a lot of people consider like too mainstream and everything, and I just think it's a good indication of where Hollywood is in general. And I'm a fan of like the golden age of Hollywood, and back in the day when like stars were like actual like considered stars for reasons of being far away, like you could see them but you can't touch them and everything. So that being said, I always take big around the time of the Oscars, I always go into it and I try to watch every single film that's nominated for the Big Six. Right now, I still have one film left. I have to catch All the Money in the World. That's the only film out of all the award nominees for the Big Six that I haven't seen yet. But I'll see that by the time the actor awards come up. Anyway, diving right into it. 5 films, 5 supporting actresses that all deserve to be nominated. This is actually like a very strong category this year. I think all 5 women actually have a chance. I think there's some that stand out a little further. But that being seen, get right into it. Laurie Metcalf in Lady Bird. Now, I grew up, I was a big fan of Roseanne. So Laurie Metcalf, I always picture her as Aunt Jackie and everything. So it's a change of pace when an actress could come in a role that they're known for and totally go into a different area with it in a different way, and just being this overbearing mother who you see the relationship between her and her daughter. And I hear a lot of people say like this movie's good for mothers and daughters to watch together to see the relationship. And Laurie Metcalf just she stands out. And then there's other actors and actresses that are really good in it, but Laurie Metcalf just stands out because she is such a different, like, I just didn't picture her being the overbearing mother. Like, last time I actually remember seeing Laurie Metcalf other than Roseanne was like Scream 2, and that was a totally different character itself. But just seeing her in this, it's a little different to see her. She comes across so good, just as a mother who cares but really can't deal with her daughter's like awkwardness, and just sees it as like almost like she's like rebelling, but like the daughter's not really rebelling, but like it's just like that interaction between the mother and the daughter. And Laurie Metcalf does a real good job of just conveying it. And you see, like how her point of view of her daughter does change over time and everything. And there's times where she feels hurt, she feels loved and everything. And Laurie Metcalf does really good conveying that, just showing how like those relationships are get weaker and stronger throughout. She does a really good job of it. Very good. Has a shot of winning. Like I said, all of them have a shot of winning. This one, number 2 is Leslie Manville from Phantom Thread. Now, I'll get into it more on the Best Picture nominee for Phantom Thread, but like I wasn't a big fan of Phantom Thread. I know a lot of people love it and are saying that it's this beautifully made movie. I think Phantom Thread has 2 things going for it. I think the acting in it is top notch, and the cinematography. The storyline I just didn't like, but Leslie Manville is just how cold and calculating she is. She's just another like facet of the movie, because everybody has these very strong characters in the film. Like Daniel Day-Lewis is very strong, and like peculiar. He has these certain tics, and Leslie Manville's like she's like another variation of it, where she's just so cold and calculating. Everything is to appease him, and she doesn't want his regimen changed. And just the way she's just like a drill sergeant without yelling. She just is just everything is set in stone. Everything is very cold. Everything is delivered black and white. There is no variation for her, and it's definitely a great character. She kind of seems like she's like the protagonist, like the bad guy, but she's not really a bad character. It's just she's so cold, and everything's A or B. There is no middle ground with her. It's either right or wrong, and she's always, if it's right in her point of view, it's always going to be right. And just a great character, another great performance. We also got Mary J. Blige in Mudbound. Now, out of the 5 nominees, this is the one I was kind of a little shocked for. Most of all because it's a Netflix movie, so you don't see Netflix movies getting many nominations. I know that All the Beasts or whatever was nominated a few years ago. But Mary J. Blige in this one, I don't think she's the best actor in it, and that might be more that the best supporting actor is just a harder race to get into, that nobody was nominated from this. But I mean, it is good that she was nominated. But for the first half of the movie, she really doesn't say anything or do anything. It's all facial acting and her being there. And the crazy thing is, like, being, in my mid-30s, seeing Mary J. Blige being nominated for an Academy Award is just, it's kind of surreal. Like, picturing her rapping and her R&B career in the 90s, just seeing where she's gone to, and it's how good she is, and she handles her own in it. I mean, she is one of the better actors in the film, But just like I said, like, I didn't think she was the best. I thought there was other people that were better, but I feel like maybe like those races were tighter, so that they kind of, she should have been nominated. Obviously, she belonged in this pool of actresses. I just could have seen it going. I could see it going elsewhere, but it's good to see her being nominated and being represented. And actually, like I said, after seeing her career in the 90s, seeing where she's ended up, it's just a crazy change, kind of. Fourth is Octavia Spencer, The Shape of Water. Now, Octavia Spencer is like making a career out of like being the Best Supporting Actress nominee. She's like turning into the Meryl Streep of supporting actress. But it's because she's so good. Like, she just gets in there and she fits a role, and she is amazing no matter what the role is. And you believe her watching it. Like, she could be any different character, and she just fits into it perfectly and adapts to it, makes that character herself, or makes that character her own. And you don't watch it and say, oh, that's Octavia Spencer. You always watch it and you say that's the character, because she's just so good at diverting, and her name is so big in these roles. Like, she's going to be nominated, but she still is able to make that character viewed differently, that you see that character only as that character. And then that's like real talent to me. Like, especially like, we'll see when we get to the other awards, like when an actor and actress can play a real character, like not a real character, a real person, and you forget that that's an actor. Like, you start viewing that as the real person. That's when, like, I think that an actor's talent really shines through. And it's hit or miss, because sometimes, like, when an actor or actress plays a real character, it feels like they're just doing an imitation. They have to be able to do that imitation so good and make that character so realistic that they become that person, and you view the movie as that person, not as the actor playing that person. That sometimes it's good and sometimes bad. Like, Johnny Cash as Joaquin Phoenix. I never viewed it as Johnny Cash. I viewed it as Joaquin Phoenix. But then Jamie Foxx as Ray Lewis. Not Ray Lewis. Wow, that's a bad one. As Ray Charles. Wow. I viewed always as it being Ray Charles, because he was just so good at it, and it's just two different sides to it, and it shows an actor's talent. I think, like, I'm going off on a little tangent here. That's what Octavia Spencer is able to do, is she's able to be that character, not Octavia Spencer. So anyway, the fourth one is Allison Janney from I, Tonya. Now, if Laurie Metcalf was the mother that people should bring their mothers and children to see the relationship, Allison Janney is the exact opposite. She's the overbearing mother who's just brutally vicious and mean and bigoted and just a piece of garbage, literally. But, like, she's got that sports parent mentality, like, where people say, oh, well, she's doing the best for her child, trying to make her child the best in the world. But she just takes it to a whole new level. Like, she's just mean to other kids and just a vicious, vindictive person. And it's such a far difference from what Allison Janney is. I believe she was nominated for Juno back in a couple years ago. And it's such a different character from that. And it's such a different character from a character on Mom. Or Mom, she's like the comic relief and everything. And seeing this vicious character just, like, beat her kid and yell at her kid and scream and everything, and just, there's no love in her. She's as cold as the Leslie Manville character in Phantom Thread, but she's, like, more vicious. Like, whereas Leslie Manville really isn't a bad person, the Allison Janney character is just a horrible person that like nobody should ever have as a mother. You know, like she did good, like getting her daughter to be the best, but in doing so made her daughter's life miserable, and it's just horrendous. And Allison Janney just like knocks it out of the park. Like, I understand she's still comic relief kind of in this film. Like, there's parts where, you know, she just says things or does things that just are funny at the time, but it's just, her character is just so horrible at other times. So anyway, so that's the 5 nominees for Best Supporting Actress. Now, I'm going to give my winner, who I want to win, a dark horse, and a snub, I believe. So for me, I think Allison Janney is walking away with this. Like, I just think all the other people are great, but just Allison, this is like her time where she's so against the grain of what she normally is that without a doubt, this is her time where she has a real good shot of winning. And like I said, the other 4 are superb, but it just, there's something about her performance in this. The dark horse, I say, is Laurie Metcalf, because Lady Bird has so much buzz behind it. So many people love it, and she does very good in it. It's like the 2 sides of the coin, though. Like, Laurie Metcalf's the mother on the one side, and Allison Janney's the mother on the other. And, you know, seeing a mother that cares and a mother that doesn't care, and like letting you figure out which one is which, actually, because they both think they care. As far as a snub, in the Best Supporting Actress, this is like a year I don't think that there's a snub. I think these are like the 5 best nominees, and from what I see, you know, there could be films I missed where I didn't see anybody, but as far as these 5, I think these are the best 5 supporting actors of the films I saw. So that's it. So I got Allison Janney winning, Laurie Metcalf as a possible dark horse with no snub. I'll be back tomorrow with Best Supporting Actor. Until then, I will catch you on the flip side.